Hello, race fans. Welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you by ShortTrackExclusives.com. I'm your host, Thomas Faddis, alongside two other short track guys in the studio, as always. Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07 Can'tQuitFishing.com Sportsman and 2021 Sportsman Champion, and Ted Baber Video Productions here at Pensacola, Florida, at Five Flag Speedway, and other short tracks around the Southeast.
Yes.
What's up, guys?
Evening.
330 shopping days until Christmas. Just got to put that out there.
Yeah, I'm glad we got that over with.
Yes.
Man, have we got a great show tonight. We've got a guest that's on the air right now. We're going to bring him in just a little bit, and he's got some big news, and I can't wait to find out what's going on with Christian Rose Racing. Man, I'm going to hold it right there, and we're going to get just a little bit about what we have talked about from last week with the All-Star Showdown out in Irwindale. And, man, what a race. And we had one of our buddies out there, too.
Yes.
Yeah, Bubba Pollard had a good race, but got turned around, went to the back, came back to the front, and got in another scuffle and ended up dropping out. So we kind of hate that for him. But, I mean, he went all the way out there and represented. As a matter of fact, he got in a little scrape-up in practice, and a team loaned him a bunch of parts to fix the car. He was going to have to go home.
Wow.
So it was good to see him out there. Gomes won it, didn't he?
Yeah. Jacob Gomes, John Moore, Jeremy Doss, Chris Davidson, which we know quite well in Pearland, Texas. He comes over and runs a lot of our big races here locally. Yep. And Darren Robinson rounded out the top five.
Speaking of Chris Davidson, I want to throw in here real quick. We want to have, thoughts and prayers to all the people out in Texas that have really gotten beaten up by the storms that passed through last night. It was awful.
It was. It came through here, and man, yeah, they expected some bad stuff, and there was some torn up stuff, and prayers going out to those people in Texas, and hopefully they get recovered.
Yeah, that's good. And Chris Davidson's a two-time pro late model champion. Mm-hmm. That's cool. I'm glad to see him travel out there and do really well. I hate to see that Bubba didn't do so well, but that's okay.
Yeah. Some of the notables that we've gone over: Jace Hansen, Jake Finch, Jonathan Gomes. I don't know for sure if he's got relations to Jacob, but I think they're brothers. I'm not sure. I'm going to go on a limb to say that. Bubba Pollard, 20th, and then Blaine Roca, 23rd, unfortunately. But those are some of the names that we see over here in our local area. And, they had 29 super late models out there for that big race and all the big money. And Jacob Gomes again.
Well, he had Derek Thorne in his pit area.
That
Snowball Derby winner. He's out of a ride without Campbell Motorsports, but the fact that he was there in his pit, that didn't hurt him at all. That boy drove a great race. Congratulations to him and his team.
As a matter of fact, in his post-race interview, he said something about the Derby. He had a good run here too. So
yeah, he did. He ran pretty decent. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, well, their next event for the National Southwest Tour, the SRL Series, is going up in the Winter Showdown at Kern County here March 25th. So I know that's a little bit further out than we anticipate, but I figured I'd just go ahead and follow that up with the SRL fans and listeners. So we'll go from there. We've got a big one coming up again this weekend. I think it's in Cordele,
Georgia.
At Watermelon Capital Speedway, and it is Speedfest 2023, and what a lineup we have coming up.
Yeah, we went over the Super Late last time we were on, and the rundown for the Pro Late is pretty darn stout, too, with Spencer Bragg, Nicholas Noggle, Steve Dorr, we know his name very well, Benjamin Jones, Brian Schaefer, Brian Demland, Brett Suggs, David Reagan. I've met him and worked with him a little bit before. He's a great guy. Dawson Sutton, Cody Hall, Justin South. I mean, we're familiar with that name. Seth Christensen. Oh, yeah. Johnny Aramandia, a local modified driver that we're pretty familiar with. Josh Hicks, Robbie Taylor, Joe Dixon, Michael Hind, the best hair in the Pittsburgh Snowball Derby. Gavin Graham, Cale Hall, Katie Hettinger, Dylan Fetcho, Warren Mobley, and Joey Meyer.
Yeah.
Those ones we know of right now.
There's some good names in there, but there's some names we haven't heard of, too.
Right.
That Seth Christian kid was a winner in the truck series at Five Flags, so he's going to be tough. I think he's got a lot of talent. I've been following him on Facebook, but that race is full of a bunch of new names. It's going to be interesting to see how well they all do against some of the veterans. That's going to be a good show.
Well, Ted, there are two of those drivers right now that you just mentioned. Hunter Wright is with Day Racing Products making his debut at Crisp in the Super Late Model 150. And Dawson Sutton He's from Lebanon, Tennessee. He's 16 years old. In the JEG CRA, which is actually a Pro late model race. I believe they run Friday night.
I think so, yeah.
It's a 2-day show. Yeah, Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, these are two of the youngsters that we can put in the fields with the William Sawaches and Rogerios and all the young cats. And we've talked about pedigree and youth and experience and all that. These are two of the guys that I've picked out to watch in the future.
Yeah, but I mean, you're absolutely right. Some of these young kids nowadays, woo, it's nice, but it's going to be interesting. That weekend is always good racing. In the outlaw class and everything else usually puts on a heck of a show. And we usually got a bunch of our guys that go up and run outlaw.
And we'll see what Bubba can, the other Bubba,
Yeah,
can do.
Bubba Winslow.
Yep.
And I think Jason Welch is going to go, so that's going to be pretty good. I wish they'd run street stocks. Mine's sitting in the still in the trailer from going down to New Smyrna. I'm like, I got a little cash. I could go. I got tires. I don't have to worry about that. But nah, we got to go pick up the car I'm getting for the super stock Saturday. So
like we've said, about youth and experience and pedigree and all that. I think our guest has a little bit to say about that because this is upcoming is a really, really great story. So just some more news and notes with the SRX series. We don't touch on a lot of the cup drivers on that side of it. We're really strictly in the short track things. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Clint Boyer are going to be running as newbies, if you will, to the SRX series. And that starts in July, I think, on ESPN on Thursday night now instead of Saturday on CBS. So just so you know, get ready for that series.
Oh, yeah. Well, Kevin Harvick said that he didn't know if Boyer could fit in one of his fire suits. He was making fun of him. So that's going to be cool to see those two run that series. I'd like to see I hope they're still going to let the local drivers get a shot in there because when I was listening to a podcast earlier, and it was before the SRX last year, and they were talking about Bubba, and he said he was going to whip their you know what, and he almost did. So
very close.
SRX is a cool series. I think that was something that Tony Stewart came up with. That's awesome.
Yeah. And puts a spotlight on a lot of short tracks too. So.
Oh man. And this year alone, just with the SRL late models, the new Star Series and the Southern Super Series, you talk about some great short track racing this year. Oh my goodness. It's going to be great.
Well, that's pretty much a wrap on what we've got. We're going to bring our guest on. He's been here listening to us gibber.
Suffering.
Christian Rose Racing. Christian Rose is from West Virginia and represented that state very well.
Yes.
This is Mr. Three-Time Short Track Guys podcast guest. And we have followed his story since the very beginning. In Daytona, the story there, you have to go back and check that episode out to kind of catch up. But I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag just yet. Second episode we had with him, we found out he got married. Now there's a family involved and a new manufacturer and a new team. So welcome, Christian Rose. Christian, thank you so much for taking your time out and tell us a little bit and catch us up to speed what's going on with that camp.
It's been good. We've had a great off season. It's been a wild start to our off season. The best way I can put it is kicking it off having our son born last week. Mama and son are doing great. Wow. We went down and did a test. So it was quite the experience to go down and hop in a race car for 2 days and then turn around and come home and have a baby 2 days later. So
wow.
That's been awesome. But we've been very blessed to sign on with AM Racing and have them take a shot on me and being partnered with them and having Brett Mott from the Xfinity car can turn into a great thing. So very excited about the opportunities there and what we might be able to bring with that brand new Ford Mustang.
So what do you see the differences between the cars you've been in up until now with that Mustang? Are the manufacturers that far off or is it somewhat similar?
For me at Daytona, the way the car handled it was just kind of like on a rail. We got out there in the draft and we could pull our group around really well. And then I went up to the top and let them kind of get around us. And it took us a whole half a lap really to get back in line and with them. So I thought it was pretty incredible that we held that single car speed that I kept hearing inside, still inside, that we were up there by ourselves hanging with a group of cars. So it was pretty exciting to be able to know it had that kind of pull to it. And then it sucked up really good. So it's just the handling of the way that car was in the draft with the air bouncing around and everything else. It just really did what I wanted it to do.
Right. And tell us a little bit about AM Racing. if I'm getting that right. It's a new team that you've affiliated yourself with the manufacturer?
So that's our goal. It's not there yet. AM Racing's affiliated, right?
Okay.
We do get the race Ford Mustangs, but hopefully if the season goes well and we continue to get better on the racetrack and show that we can do what we're doing is working, and hopefully we can make that happen.
Cool. Great. Glad to see you back out there getting after it, man. What's your schedule look like this year? I know you're running Daytona, but what comes after that?
So we're running for a championship. We're going to run for a championship in 2023. I think we're going to surprise some people. You know, that there's going to be some talk and everything about how we struggled last year, but if you go back and look at a lot of our finishes and where we ended up in those results in those races, it was more along the lines of just horrible luck. Wrong place, wrong time, part failures, everything you can name in between. So I really think that we're kind of floating under the radar to start the year, and I actually like that. I like having that, you know what, don't discredit this kind of deal going into the season.
We'll be watching. I know that.
That's for sure. Yeah, because I remember at Five Flags, dude, I thought for sure you had a top three, even maybe a shot at the win to your transmission locked up. We were, man, I was so disappointed. We're sitting there just cheering, and all of a sudden you fell off. I'm like, oh no, come on now. But you did a great job.
Pensacola is one of those places that really was a heartbreaker. That's really the best way I could put it. That car was hooked up on the long run, and I mean, heck, we were at least a third place car there, and it's frustrating, you know, to go there. It's my fault, I think. How I was learning, I got told some bad advice on how to shift the stock car. So that's the best way to put it. I wasn't using the clutch, but I wasn't really lifting when I was shifting. I got it hung there. So it took us the first couple of weeks to really sort that out. But once I got it figured out, it just hurts to go look at Nashville and Pensacola and places like that. That's really what hangs with me is those kind of finishes. And then Pocono's another one, and a couple other places that I think we're going to be really strong. Kansas is a place that got circled this year. There's a lot of places I think we can go be very strong. So that's like I said, I like being under the radar, and I hope to come out and kind of make some noise from the start and kind of be like, where'd you come from? You know, kind of deal.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We like I said, we'll be watching and cheering for you for sure.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick's place. Where did you come from?
Yeah, I think he answered one of the questions I had coming up. Is that the tracks that you have visited east and west in the ARCA series, now it's a full-fledged going for the championship ARCA series, which is, I think, is a little different because now you're visiting more tracks that you haven't been to. So is there a track that you have in your mind in that schedule that you really look forward to? Is it a mile and a half? Is it a short track? Or is it the big track? Or how does that work through your mind?
Really the mile and a half. That's where I really seem to like the tracks that we don't use a lot of brake at, right? Mm-hmm. Really, that's what I like to Pensacola is I can sail that thing off in a one and really roll out. That's really where I could make it I don't know how to really phrase it. It's just when I use the brake, it's been a driver mental block here from crossing over from baseball to racing is trying to find out how much to use, right? That we can really have a lot of throttle time. I'm not scared to use it. Pocono, we rolled out. We were a sixth place car there. Kansas, we have a shot to win the race in the fall, and we gambled on tires. We were the only car that didn't come down and take four fresh tires. We started on the front row. Our gamble was to hopefully catch a caution before the end of the race. Just didn't work out. We still ran seventh, but we were at least a fourth place car speed-wise. Strategy set us back to seventh, but I was okay with the strategy because if it worked out, we were going to be the only car that had tires. So we ran 34 laps there on 25 or 30 lap over tires in the rest of the field. So I was okay with that. So those are the places that I really have circled on the schedule. The places I'm going to need some work on, I know, as a driver, the road courses and dirt tracks. So, but AM has really, when you look back at their history, for Gus Dean and the guys they brought out there, they've gone out there with guys that have had no dirt experience or whatever. They took the pole, Gus, at DeCoin, I believe, and he had no dirt experience for that either. So they do a good job of helping develop the drivers, and obviously having Brett Moffitt as a teammate in the shop, and he's in the Xfinity side is definitely going to help a lot.
Brett Moffitt's not bad.
No.
You think you must have that back up?
Yeah. You got good company there, bro.
Truck champion Brett Moffitt.
Yeah. So dig in a little deeper and tell us a little bit more about AM and how they operate as to what you're used to. And I know in a very short period of time, but what you've seen so far up to this point with AM racing.
So AM, they've just been awesome. It's really been a family atmosphere. They are, they really have just allowed me to be me and bring in a different kind of, I don't really know how to phrase it, like a personality of just be. It lets me loosen up a little bit. It's not really like a very everybody's on you to be the best. Everybody knows you got to be the best you can be, but it's not like a you if you don't perform at the first two races, kind of deal. That's the best way to put it. But they're gonna let me bring my baby up to the shop. They let my wife come in and the shop a lot. It's a very family atmosphere. And then on the performance side, those guys mean business. Like they're there to really punch you in the mouth. That's kind of the motto we've been talking about: is come out and be strong. And if we don't, then it's kind of on us, right? So they're doing all the right things. They're pushing, different windows and different doors this year. And it was really an eye-opening deal when we walked in the shop and sat down with them for the first time. It was like you could just feel the energy. And then the president of the team, he played Major League Baseball with me with a college background, playing baseball too. It just seemed to mesh really well together on our front. And they just believe in me. And I think that was the best part. From the moment I walked in there, we're not just a paycheck. We're not just anything, they believe in me as a driver and are doing everything they can to make it so I can go out there and be the best driver I can be.
Yeah, everybody's there to get something done. That's the way you want it. Everybody pushing for one common goal. That's it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, that's what we kind of been talking about, is everybody rowing the boat in the same direction, right? If
right.
one person's not rowing the boat and that's it forward, or rowing it backwards, it hinders everything. So, and that was a big thing, is bringing everybody, the team, from the guy that sweeps the floors to the truck driver. Everybody there has got the same motto and the same attitude, and it's refreshing. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, and we're glad to hear it, because I've heard people that have gone to ARCA with certain teams, and the crew chief doesn't believe in the driver, and the driver can't tell the crew chief anything, and you don't listen, and it's just, like you said, a money thing. Well, now you got a team that believes in you 100%, and man, we'd love to see you win that championship. That would be super cool.
Yes.
Oh, I appreciate it. I mean, that's our goal, right? That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
I know Jesse's going to be tough, and then it's very interesting having somebody like Frankie Muniz. You don't know what you're going to get there, and it's a very open deal this year. I think ARCA's got a different open look, and then all the races being on FS1 and FS2, it's a pretty damn big experience and an opportunity for us with our sponsors to get them a lot of exposure. So very cool to have a lot of national spotlight on us, and I'm very excited about the opportunity. So we'll see what happens.
Make sure you practice your post-race interview skills there, because you want to be there.
I can't believe it. You're racing against Malcolm in the Middle this year. I had forgot about that Frankie Muniz was going to run the full ARCA series this year. That's pretty cool. That brings a little exposure. I think the ARCA series hasn't had the exposure that it's had in the past, like when the Kimmels and everybody raced it and it was different. But I'm glad they're kind of bringing that back. They should. It should be guys like you and him and bringing it up where, it can be a better racing series on its own besides standing next to NASCAR. I like that it's on its own.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, like all these super late model series that are starting to come up and get strong again, and I'm glad to see it, because I like NASCAR, and I would love to see you race NASCAR, because we could say we had you on our podcast. That'd be awesome. But I mean, just for your story is just so unique, how you got to where you are, and we just think that is super cool, because it just doesn't happen that way anymore. It's these kids writing checks, or mommy and daddy writing checks, and they get the rides and everything like that. But you've earned your way where you are.
Exactly,
and that's cool.
I appreciate that. I really do, and it's rewarding, right? Like I have to go push and get my own sponsors, and there's been a lot of sleepless nights. I'm not going to lie. There was a time this year where I didn't know what was going to happen and when things were going to come together, and we were really knocking on the door of not knowing where we were going to be, and it's been that way every year. But it gives you a little bit of extra fire and edge, because there are kids out there, and it's part of the racing that I don't think they appreciate what they got or appreciate where they come from, and it doesn't matter. Driving a street stock or if you're driving a cup car, these guys work hard on their stuff, and it really kind of irritates me and aggravates me when somebody doesn't really do their part, right, and what they're supposed to do, or not appreciate the opportunity you got.
Yeah, when they have so many opportunities, everything's handed to them. They just have a tendency to just blow it off. I can do this regardless. No, if you work for it, it's a whole, and it feels better when you have that success too.
And it does, and that's what's exciting. That's just really what it comes down to, is the fact that you got to learn the respect the sport. I feel like you got to learn to respect what you're getting to do. Right. And I might have been guilty at the start of it a little bit of really thinking like this is awesome instead of really putting the work in. But I put the work in, but not to the level I am now, and I regret that. But it taught me a lesson. This is only year 5 of me doing it, and there are ways I think I could have made myself a better race car driver for the start of my career, in a way I could have approached sponsorship. But there's also learning experience. If you don't learn from it, then you don't move on from it and get better from it. Right. So it forges you into what you are, and I just think there's a level of respect I've gained for a lot of it over the last couple of years, and you got to respect everything that goes into it. There's a ton that goes into it. So, and it goes from the truck driver to the owner to everything that makes it possible. And then I'm just a firm believer in respect. If you respect the people around you, and they give you respect back, and everything's happening, like we said, rowing a boat in the same direction, good things happen.
That's it. I mean, you go to the shop and you hang out with the guys and you know who they are. Some of these young kids nowadays could care less who the car owner is, who the crew chief is, or anything like that. But I'm glad to hear you say that, because even the guy, like you said, from the truck driver to the guy who sweeps the floors, they're doing it for you because they want to see you succeed. They do their job the best they can do. You do the job best you can do, and everything gels together and it works. Right. And it's just super cool when the guy sweeping the floor gets to be a part of it. You know what I mean?
That's exactly it. I mean, it's and everybody has a big part in it. There's so much that I wish I could walk a lot of people through that don't get to see the ins and outs of the sport on what goes on behind the scenes to make it so you can get to the racetrack. I really do. There's so much, and from the driver's side, there's a lot that happens too. But I mean, as a driver, we get the fun part, right? We get to go drive the car. So, right. I just, like I said, I got a buddy that drives a bomber at New Smyrna, and his, it's like Daytona 500 for him to get out there every day, and that's what I love about it. So. It doesn't matter what you're in or where you are. If you respect it, you love it, and that's what you want to do, there's a way to do it. And I want to share that message to as many people as I can. That put the work in.
We went down to New Smyrna 2-3 weeks ago with my sportsman car. I'd never run there before. Let me tell you something. That place owes me a race. We went down and we didn't qualify. We drew pills and we started on the outside pole. I'd never been there before, so I dropped to the back. Well, the first lap I passed like 3 or 4 cars. I thought this is going to be all right. And then the car started sputtering. We don't know whether we got something in the fuel line or the fuel. I didn't get to finish the race, but I'm going to go back down there. I love that place. The speed you carry off in the corner there is just phenomenal. We probably saw your buddy run in the bomber class because we were there when they ran that red I-5050. Yeah. So, and I know how that is, because being just a regular street stock guy, just getting in the car is where all the fun is. But, we put in the work too. But I tell you what, man, it would be fun. As us, because Ted does videos, it would be cool to do a little YouTube series on just what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Just what you're talking about. To go through a small team like that, meet everybody, talk to everybody. You lead us around, show us, introduce us to everybody. And, we would love to do something like that with you guys.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. There's I want to kind of be a voice and a face for it, and kind of show that there is a, we went to a high school and Toledo, and ARCA brought us in to do it, and it was just an awesome experience to talk to kids, and they didn't really know, and it was talking to the shop kids there, right, about all that goes in the making the car what it is and all that stuff. And I told them, and I told ARCA, like, look, as a kid, I wish I would have had that. I wish I would have I didn't know how to get into the sport. I didn't know what I wanted to. I loved it, but I had no idea. I think there's such a opportunity for people out there that have no idea how to come down here to go about it, that would love to be a part of it. And all you got to do is move somewhere where it's possible, whether it's Pensacola or Charlotte or Daytona or you choose, and whether it's sweeping a floor to start or whatever. And Steve Bitart's a perfect example. The man was sweeping floors in the 90s, right? And now he's been a crew chief for Junior, Gordon, and in broadcast. You can go through his resume.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There's a way to do it. It's just, it might not be the way you want to do it from the start, and it might not be the way you want it to ever happen, but there's a way to do it if you want to be involved. And that's really what I want to.
Pretty much racing in itself.
Yeah. Well, these young kids nowadays have no clue. And you're absolutely right about how to do this. And we've even talked about doing it at Five Flags because there's several short tracks that do this. They'll have a couple of kids that they'll bring into a team like my team and say, okay, you got to go to the shop one night a week. You have to do this. You have to do that. When you're at the racetrack, you have to stay with the team and work on the car. Lets them in for free, gives them something to eat for free, and gets these young kids involved. Because I'm telling you, man, there's so many young people nowadays that just have no clue. They don't know. They know what's in a phone or what's in a computer or what's on TV. They don't understand the fun part, which is actually, because to me, I love getting out in the shop and getting my hands dirty. I'm 52 years old and I still love to do it.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, that's what it boils down to, right? It's the same thing from the baseball route. Like, if you love it, it doesn't matter what. I think that's kind of the message I really want to bring to the table for a lot of people is that it doesn't matter what you're involved in. If you love it, that's the message I want for my son. If it doesn't matter if you're going to be a high school janitor, if you freaking love it and you want to do it, then that's okay. That's what you want to do. If you have a passion for what you want to do and you're happy with it, I'm a firm believer of it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you love it, you'll never work a day in your life. I'm a firm believer.
That's it.
That's very true, yeah. And getting young people involved in a sport like ours also keeps them out of trouble.
Yes.
Because I was, 13, 14 years old picking up aluminum cans to get the $10 to get a pit pass to go out to Five Flags. And my dear mother would drive me across town, drop me off at the racetrack until the races were over, and I'd go to a little payphone and call her, and she would drive from the other side of town back out to Five Flags Speedway and pick me up and bring me home because she knew if I was at the racetrack, I wasn't getting into trouble.
Yep. That's what it is. I mean, I snuck into Daytona, right? That's how I got involved. So.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
That is. What a great story that we're a hold of, and I mean, grateful to be a part of. Yeah. And I've got a question as to how do you juggle with a newlywed and a family now in all of a sudden a full-time ride in ARCA series with all this traveling? How do you juggle all that?
Well, I haven't. The traveling side hasn't really kicked in with the new guy here, but I think we have a good schedule down. The good thing about AM is they're very good about getting us to the racetrack and getting us back pretty quick, and they understand with us having the baby that's a big part of what I would like to do is get in, do my job, and get home.
Right.
And they're the same way. It's like let's get back, let's get working on the car, and let's get ready for next week. So that's gonna, I think, help a ton. And then I got an amazing wife. She is very understanding and lets me do what I do. I'm very fortunate that I have that in a partner. It's very hard to find somebody that is okay with their husband going off every weekend and doing this. But there's just a lot of things that we'll have to figure out. But it's so far we've been in a good routine. As long as it hooks up that way and stays that way as the season goes, and then I think we're going to have a good plan for it. So as he gets older, the more we'll be able to bring him to the racetrack too. And she graduates school in June, so once she's out and has a job working in healthcare, then we can get her to the racetrack and him to the racetrack a lot more.
Man, I can't wait.
I can't wait. Awesome. We'll have to. We're going to have to come watch you at ARCA race this year for sure.
Yeah. Somewhere we'll plan it.
Well, I would love to. I really would like to get down to Pensacola. We're still working on trying to find sponsorship outside of the primary season. I will say Pensacola is one of my favorite racetracks. So. Love the place. Never change it. That's the best way I can say it. Never change that place. Nope. The character and everything in it. It's fun as hell to drive.
I pray we don't pave it. That's one thing I've been.
I don't want to see that. Yeah, trust me, as a driver, it's a lot of fun to be able to let guys go that think they're Superman to start and be able to reel them in.
Oh yeah, you'll eat the tires off of it. But like the class I drive, you got to go because we only run 25 laps, so it's balls out for 25 laps. And you try to you got to get every car you can get. I was just talking about that with a buddy of mine yesterday. I said, you can't ride around. You got to go, go, go. In those big races, you got to know when to slow down. And the best guy at running long laps at that place is Bubba Pollard. I've seen him start like 10th in a late model race, and you'll be sitting there watching him, looking at lap times, and you start making that jaws sound. Here he comes. He starts creeping up on there. Next thing you know, he's leading and he's gone.
All about that tire management. And I've been on the other side too. When I first started racing, I got the opportunity. I was fortunate enough to get to race Myrtle Beach. That was a place where we started, and I took off, and I was passing cars left and right. I'm like, man, we're going to be leading this race in about 5 laps. And about 15 laps went by, and we might as well have thrown the anchor out the window. And I was hung out, hanging on, and just miserable. So we went green. 75-lap race, and we went green for the first 70 laps of the race. So,
man.
Yikes.
Lesson learned.
It was not a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So
Myrtle,
that taught me a lot about tire management really quick.
No, for
yeah,
sure.
Myrtle Beach is one of those places that's gone now. It's a shame.
Oh,
Yeah, like I said, when we found out it was closing, it was one of our deals that I wanted to race there very much, and I got the opportunity to. It was the reason it meant a lot to me is my family. We vacationed there a ton as kids, and my dad, he's battling Alzheimer's. It was one of his favorite places, so they get the opportunity to go down there and 2 years ago and run that place before they knocked it down was a lot of fun.
Good deal, man. Good deal. New Smyrna was on my bucket list, and I kind of got some of it off but I got that place owes me a race. I'm going to drag an old super stock of mine out of the woods this Saturday, and we're going to build it for down there and run in Cordele and a couple other tracks. But we're going to go back down there. Man, I want to win there. That place is, I like it.
So in your immediate future, I mean, what does your schedule look like here in the next week or two? Getting ready for Daytona.
Yeah. The next couple of weeks is just, we're plugging away on some other sponsor stuff, and really it's just getting up to the shop and then continuing to put the work in and being around the guys and just building that camaraderie. It's a new team, it's a new place still, and you're still gelling with the guys and trying to find that same point of view for everybody and try to find out who likes what and all that stuff, and just get the guys that like each other, right? And so far it's been amazing. They all have, and they've been amazing. And from the top down, everybody's amazing there. So it's just going to the shop and being around the cars. And I'll be honest, I'm not a guy that knows how to wrench on them too much. But I still try to be there and try to be present and show that I'm willing to be there. Not like I'm sitting at home. So
that means a lot too.
Yeah, that's what it takes.
Yeah. And that's what I like to do is at least be there. And I'm sitting in the office working on sponsor calls all day and working to find the stuff that makes the car, find the real gasoline for the car. Is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And that's really it. It's just doing that, hitting the gym. A lot of film from the last couple of years when I come home, especially with the baby when Mama's sleeping and it's my turn, watching some races and just trying to. I've been reading a lot of books too about the athlete mindset and getting back into that kind of deal where I was in college on that on kill kind of mode is where I want to be this year. So and that's what I've been just prepping and really mental training. There's I think a lot of people forget to train the mind, and that's a big part of anything you do in life.
Yeah, envision the success.
Yep.
So is your boy going to be named River?
So his name is River Lawrence Rose.
Yeah.
So,
Oh wow, cool.
Yep. So my dad's battling Alzheimer's, and we went with Lawrence for Larry. My dad's name is Larry on the middle name, and then we loved the name River. As soon as I said it, my wife lit up like a Christmas tree, and I was like, "All right, that's it." We had that from the moment we found out we were pregnant. It just never changed.
Right. So I guess we can see him in a go-kart in a couple of years, huh?
Oh God, I hope not. my wallet doesn't want to see that. So
Right.
hopefully he wants to follow Dad's roots on the baseball side, but I got a feeling if he's coming to the shop with Dad a lot and seeing all that stuff, it's going to be hard for him not to want to. So if he wants to get into it, we'll put him in it. I just like to wait till like 10 or 11 really before we get him going.
Right.
I'm not one of the people that believe you have to be in a go-kart at 3 years old. Brad Keselowski, I think, didn't start till he was like 13. Junior was in his teens really when he got going. So you can do it at a later age. I'd like to see him get a little older and a little more mature before we put him in anything.
Well, I don't think I've come across any more of an incredible story than we've been affiliated with since, I think, September, about 6 months after we got started. And we got in touch with you first time when you got into the garage at Daytona, which is an incredible story to begin with. And up to this point, like Jim said earlier, this is something that just doesn't happen,
Right. No.
typically. And we're so glad to be a part of it. And I appreciate you taking the time out to be with us. Keep working out and keep getting stronger. Keep that mentality, because I can feed off of what you're saying. You're motivated. You are dedicated to get in there and do the absolute best you can, and exceed from that. And I can feel that vibe from your conversation, and we really appreciate you taking the time out to be with us.
Well, I appreciate you guys and the continued support on our side. Like I said, it means the world to have any kind of voice in the if I can inspire just one person on my story, you know, it means a lot. So love the podcast, love what you guys do. And obviously, you know, you guys were incredible to us when we came down to Pensacola, and it was great to meet y'all. So hopefully we won't go too long till we see you again.
Well, hope not. We want to see you back up here.
Yeah, we just want to see you in victory lane, man. You keep digging and do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, we're going to push like hell for it. So I'm looking forward to it. I think you'll see us find victory lane once or twice this year. I really do.
Yep. Well, we're going to be right up on top of that, and I promise you we will be in touch, and we will talk to you again soon. Thank you, Christian.
Awesome. Yep. Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you,
All right, man. Have a good evening.
You too.
Well, that's Christian Rose, Christian Rose Racing. There you got, a 3-episode sum up on his story. Wow, that's incredible.
The full story.
Yeah, great dude. Glad to see he's out there digging because you know what? Like I said, you don't see a story like his very often. Somebody who didn't come up in a racing family or wasn't his uncle raced or anything like that, and he gets out there and he gets it done. Him and AM Racing, I hope and pray that they win a race this year. We'd love to see it.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, we're going to be right there.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, and we appreciate him coming and take the time out to do that. And we actually can make an announcement tentatively for next week. We've got another special guest. We'll make an announcement a little bit later. But guys, you know, it's always a pleasure to get with you guys on Wednesday night and talk short track racing, and this is what we do it.
Yep. We're gonna have more guests this year. I think we got a little bit of a lineup we're gonna do, and it's gonna be fun.
Yep.
I always enjoy doing it with you guys. This is our Wednesday night every Wednesday. So
yep, potential sponsorships coming on board too. So things are looking up not only for that, but for Short Track Guys podcast.
Got some mafia involved.
Yeah, mafia.
You know what I'm saying over here?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's coming up soon, and that's going to be big news, too. And that's going to come up here in the next week or two because we're kind of getting in touch and making contacts and finalizing some things. But it looks like that's going to happen. So look forward to that. And I don't know. We've done Spanish. We've done Japanese. I don't know any other language.
How about I do it an Italian mafia countdown?
Okay.
Let's do that. Go ahead, Jim.
1, 2, 3.
Let's go, Brandon.
Good night, everybody.
Be strong, America.
Thanks for listening.